It's a great day for hockey here in Blaine, Minnesota. My name is Eric Zamora, bringing the play-by-play of this evening's matchup in 18U action of the NAPHL Tier 1 Showcase. It is the Oakland Junior Grizzlies taking on the Philadelphia Junior Flyers, and wasting no time, the Grizzlies fire a shot from the point. Nate Pierce is able, through a sea of bodies, to find a lane. I believe this is going to be Pierce's goal. We'll get confirmation. There certainly was traffic. What we know is 18 seconds into the contest, Pierce has definitely found the score sheet, and I think he's found a goal as well, and he's got his squad on top by a score of 1-0. The Grizzlies in the white jerseys, black numerals outlined, or I should say no outline. They have a trim that is in tan or Vegas gold if you prefer, and they skate from left to right on your screen. As you would expect if you are a fan of the NHL game at all, the Philadelphia Junior Flyers with the orange jerseys. The numerals are actually a little off-white inside a black frame, and they will skate from right to left. This is brought into the offensive zone for the Junior Flyers, unable to get that last look as they were threatening to get a scoring opportunity going. It is indeed Pierce. 18 seconds gone by in the frame, and the Junior Flyers with a wraparound attempt will not go. Avery Lutch picks up the lone assist, so we will call that 5 from 23, and we are off and running. For the Grizzlies, they will go with Xander Holzinger in between the pipes. And pulling that one back, it was to be Kronberger. Now, a centering feed, and Leonard and Josefowski trying to work off of a look from Krieger. Fed over, as trying to move it from the left to the center, was Joseph Butter. Butter hails from Dallas, Texas. Predominantly, this squad is going to be from the the Philadelphia area, or the tri-state region of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, but there are going to be some geographic outliers, as we usually see at these showcases. Moved over to the right side and then returned right back. Krieger made that pass over for Ickes. Looking for a drop pass was Zoranek. Now Philadelphia into the offensive zone. Stopping and peeling back Ryan Nichols. This will be taken over by the Grizzlies. They hail from Michigan, as a toe drag and trying to snap a shot there was Anton Strandberg. Shot knocked out of midair. That was offered up by Pierce Huey and chopped down by Zoranek. Glove save made by the netminder. And Holzinger, who hails from Plymouth, Michigan, will hang on for the whistle. I'm trying to remember. I know that US NTDP has been based out of both Plymouth and Ann Arbor, and I'm trying to remember if it was initially in Plymouth and switched to Ann Arbor, or the other way around. I cannot claim to be a geographic expert of either of these, where these teams are from. We've made a couple of trips to Michigan, as this is offside, and it is an automatic offside, though that wouldn't have mattered as it was on target, even if you had touch-up offsides allowed. Almost all my Michigan trips, hockey-related in one way or another. Heading out to Kalamazoo for some Western Michigan hockey, and then as a broadcaster in the USHL, traveling to see the USNTDP squad in Plymouth and in Muskegon as well. This is deflected down low for Pennsylvania. I think the only time I've headed out there was for a wedding. This is trapped up against the boards by Huey. We will play 17-minute periods. This is flipped and floated out. Cutting in, going in on the forehand and denied was the Junior Flyers. A great look in tight quarters and just unable to get that one to go. Kenzie, it's out of his reach as Logue had that, or Logue rather, had that good look. Kept alive and thrown towards the net by Natishin. They'll chop it from right to left. Also, we just have a 60-second break in between periods 1 and 2, so don't go too far. This will be reset down low, flipped in by Colin Bickle. Bickle out of Narberth, PA. Fighting for it, Alejandro Bloom. Wraparound attempt and denied by the netminder, Holsinger. Doesn't want to wait for any more action. He will cover that up. On the other end, it's Maxime Giguère out of Blainville, Quebec. And Giguère, the son of goaltender Jean Sebastian, name that I'm hoping is familiar to most hockey fans. As there's a shot. Fought off, played in the NHL for a variety of teams, including the Anaheim Ducks, where he won a Conn Smythe up until last year. And Connor McDavid, he had been the previous last recipient of the Conn Smythe, the playoff MVP, to not win a Stanley Cup. That was in 03. He did eventually win a Stanley Cup with the Ducks in 07. That is their lone Stanley Cup in franchise history. Oakland with a nice pass. They had to be sure there, but Kronberger will take it. He'll dish and hands off to Charlie Driscoll. Driscoll out of Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan. Fires one high on Giguère, just up and over the logo on the chest. The JR standing for Junior with the Flyers logo inside the R. Giguère sets up shop on that short side post and fights that one off. Similar shot and similar where it hits the netminder. Underneath the helmet, up high on the chest, and he's able to trap that there with the catcher. Face off in the offensive zone. A save made by Giguère as he fights off that bid from his right. Thrown on by Driscoll. He's been active early, a defenseman, but getting involved in the offense. Here's Driscoll. And he's going to be pressured by Brody Matthews. That kicks off of Butter. Off the skate of James Krieger and played down low. Icing will be the call. And as we check in with this one, and you can too on NAT1HL.com with all the stats, our officials for tonight's contest. Linesman Francis Marshall dropping the puck, or about to, alongside Brendan McKnight. On the short side here, the referee Dylan Boberg. Right now in the far corner, Jacob Dinklenberg. Floated high, and looking to skate onto that was Butter. He does indeed tie up Pierce, the goal scorer, in the corner, at least momentarily. Leonard pushes it out to the left side. Shot doesn't get through, and the Philly squad show their appreciation as they pound on the boards in front of their bench. Pierce, hands off as soon as he gains the line, as Taccone was the recipient of that feed. Philly looking to exchange, and they will say icing waved off. Left here for a moment, and Polyvu will help get that down low. We will have an icing going against Philly. Nearly looked up the wrong schedule, as we have both the Philadelphia Little Flyers and the Philadelphia Junior Flyers. This is the Junior Flyers squad. They are playing in their second game of NAPHL Tier 1 action this season, as earlier today defeated by Bigby Coffee, a final of 7-5. The remaining games on their schedule, they'll take on the Ohio Blue Jackets. That's at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow over on Rink 3. And on Monday, the opponent is the Chicago Fury. That'll be on Rink 1 next door at 8 a.m. Hammered off the backboards. And we're going to have a delayed penalty coming up against the Junior Grizzlies. They are also playing in their second game, as they fell earlier today to the Chicago Fury. Final in that one 5-2. They will take on the Buffalo Junior Sabres tomorrow at 3:30. That'll be over on, actually that'll be right here on Rink 2. And then Sunday, their opposition, the Philadelphia Little Flyers. 10:30 a.m. And that is on Rink 4. So with a Rink 1 game earlier today, they stay on the big sheets of ice and the front of the super rink here. Kenzie cycles it down. There's a shot right into the breadbasket of the netminder, as Ryder Gibbs out of Flagstaff, Arizona, with a good look, ends up catching the netminder in the chest logo, and he'll hold on for the whistle. 8:16 left to go. 1:34 left in the man advantage. Grizzlies control the restart as Ryan Ickes helps them get it deep. Will Kronberger knocked to his feet, but no penalty coming. I don't think there should have been one. Kronberger over for Ickes. Ickes banks it to Pierce. Pierce is stymied, tied up, and they'll float one back as Natition still with it. Finds Logue. Logue cuts from blue line to blue line. He'll be kept to the exterior by Ickes. Floated up, not out. Oh, they will say it did indeed go, as Bickle nearly kept that alive. I'm going to be honest with you, a little bit of a delay there, and that's why I initially said kept it in. I wasn't saying that I knew for a fact it had. But there was a little bit of a delay there, and I don't mind that as much as some people. I know some people say if you don't call it immediately, if the hand doesn't immediately go up for a penalty, if you don't immediately call an offside, then must have gotten that call wrong or you doubt it. My thought is if you're the official, take that extra half second. Let your brain and eyes and everything process what you saw and make sure you get the call right, and that's what we saw there. Blum brings it into the offensive zone. Chopped at out of mid-air to slow that one down. Ryder Gibbs. Over for Founds. Brady Founds out of Westchester, PA. In to the offensive zone, but offside. They'll slide this over to the right side. Dominic Takani. And Jaguar punches that one away with the blocker. Make sure that rebound doesn't come into harm's way. A drive made by the netminder, and then Jaguar sliding over to his left. The puck was actually still sitting there. Fortunately for he and the Junior Flyers, it was found by a teammate first. Nichols gets that down low. And Holsinger slides over from left to right. Chipped up by Ickes. That a man breaking to Coney. Coney out of Michigan. Or Maycomb, excuse me. Unable to get the touch there to Coney. And we will have an icing called against the Junior Grizzlies with 5:25 left in the first. Oakland in the Oakland Junior Grizzlies, referring to a county in Michigan, as they cut in and try to tuck one in short side. It includes Troy, Rochester Hills, Auburn Hills. Basically Detroit's northern suburbs, and the reason I was first familiar with it is because of Oakland University. The fraternity I belong to had a chapter there, and to be honest, the first time I saw and heard about them at a convention, I assumed, as I'm sure a lot of people make that mistake, they were from Northern California. Not the case. This is brought into the offensive zone, and looking to return it back was Carson Lynch. Knocked to the ice surface was Matthews. We're going to have a delayed penalty. Philly's going to go on the man advantage as it is touch up, and Solomon Tucker with the possession. And I can tell why he was frustrated, as it is he who is headed off for the infraction. I believe it was a hold. The signals being given away from us here on the north end of the rink. This is floated up, knocked down by Founds. Founds actually bounces that puck over to Manolino, who gave it right back. Founds pushes this and gets it back from Kenzie. Founds exchanges for Evan Kenzie out of Elizabethtown, PA. Drop pass up the side, and it's stolen away. A 2-on-1 shorthanded. They'll float it over in a drive. Great look by Kronberger, and Jaguar able to fight that one off, make the save, and set that up and into the netting. It is a offensive zone restart for the junior Grizzlies, shorthanded. We appreciate those tuning in. It's a full slate of action in the NHL, including both of the teams I would imagine that the most of these players are fans of in action. In fact, as this is flipped high, I'm curious, I guess because they had a game earlier today, wouldn't have been able to make it. But the Philadelphia Flyers were in action today in the metro area, not too far from here. The XL Energy Center in St. Paul. They ended up falling by a score of 4-1. I would imagine a fair number of junior Grizzlies, fans of the Detroit Red Wings. They're in action probably right now, actually. In fact, now that I think about that, in an earlier game, I remember giving a 0-0 score update. I won't give any updates in their game simply because there could be somebody who's DVRing or recording that game. I know they're taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't remember if that is at the Little Caesar in Detroit or in Scotiabank. There's a shot up and off the mark. And the power play, as we hear Jaguar's stick slamming down on the ice surface, coming to an end. This is flipped down low, just around the liney. Checking over either shoulder, Nichols, and they'll get a clearance. Here's Strandberg. Strandberg makes the pass back for Mike Tate III. Touch forward by Zaranik. Zaranik gets hammered into the boards. And fed down low by Huey. Comes to Gabriel Polivu, who ripped a shot from just inside the blue line. Getting to the red line is Nichols, and he slaps that one down low. Nice job there by the netminder. Holzing had a player in orange cutting across the bow. He had to be precise. Nichols with a check, and Tucker with a love tap. McGowan peels that off the University of Minnesota Health Fairview dasher boards and sets up a scoring opportunity. No issues there for Jaguar. And we'll take the frozen puck with 57.8 left to go in the first period. A reminder, as there's less than a minute to go in the frame, we also will have just a 60-second break in between periods. There's a shot, but it's blocked. Pierce, the goal scorer, tried to float that on target, and Tommy Manolino out of Staten Island, New York, with the shin guard breakup. Tracked down by Gibbs. He tries to move that ahead. They'll get backed up. Long pass, and it splits the D. Cutting in, going forehand, and a big save, as that was a good look by Manolino, and he was met move for move by Holsinger. Kept alive momentarily by Blum. A glove save made by the netminder, and he will surrender a defensive zone restart with 11.3 left on the clock. Draw will come to the right of the netminder. Both goaltenders with the blocker and stick on their right side, glove on the left. A bit of a rolling puck there, and not handled cleanly by Holsinger, but it's not going to end up mattering, as the junior Grizzlies able to run out the remainder of the first. We will take our 60-second break, and we'll be back with the second period. It is the Oakland Junior Grizzlies on top of the Philadelphia Junior Flyers by a score of 1-0 after 17 are in the books. You're watching NAPHL Tier 1 action right here on NAHL TV. We'll switch ends. So the Philadelphia Junior Flyers in orange. White or off-white numerals. The numerals look a little off-white, whereas the stripes themselves look pure white, with a black outline, black names on a white nameplate. The Junior Flyers skate from left to right. And bringing into the offensive zone, steered aside, was Will Kronberger. The Junior Grizzlies, nothing off-white about the jerseys. We're going to have a penalty upcoming, and Oakland will pull their netminder. Black numerals and Vegas gold, or tan if you prefer, trim. They skate from right to left. They skate with 6 skaters right now because they've been able to pull Xander Holsinger. Floated ahead. It was touched by Philly, but not possessed initially. And the linesman, Francis Marshall, took the brunt end of a missed check. Interference will be the call. With 16:13 left to go here in our opening frame. Looking for a deflection, they find it, they can't get it on target. Or excuse me, they can't get it past the netminder. Darren Mayhew redirecting that. There was a screen out front, 8 seconds gone by of the power play opportunity. Held in at the point by Tate. He'll open himself up. Kronberger will go to Tate, pushed over to the right side. And McGowan, who wears the C. McGowan. Stick handles up high to Tate. Back to McGowan on the right side. Fed down low. Centering in from one knee. Mayhew has a right-handed shot. Pushed it wide left. That would have been an easier angle had he been a southpaw shooter. That is an attempted redirection by Mayhew, but end up redirecting it off target. McGowan looking for a give and go, and not a bad idea there. Lynch hands it off up high. Here's Tate. Tate through some traffic and out the other end. 47 seconds left to go on the power play. Just under 15 minutes left to go in the frame. Left pad save by Jaguar. They will hammer that, caught by Tate about 6 to 8 inches outside the blue line, and it forces the junior Grizzlies to reset. They'll hand off from the top of the circle. And a right pad save and heads up as that one is cleared, but up over the glass and out of play. At the professional ranks, at the collegiate ranks, that would be, actually I shouldn't even say the collegiate, at the professional ranks, that would be a automatic penalty for a delay of game. Not the case here. They only do so if it is deemed to be by the officials intentional, and you're not going to see that call made very often. Bobbing and weaving was Ickes. He creates some separation and finds a DDD pass to Driscoll. Back to Ickes. Ickes at the red line, makes the handoff, and Philadelphia has killed off the penalty. We skate 5-on-5. Still stuck in their own defensive end. That is floated out and off the glove of Nichols, who's fresh off the bench, up the right wing side, and that will push Tucker deep behind his own cage. He'll peel that over for Ickes. Turned over and right in on the netminder. You may have seen the netting dance there, but that was simply because a player skated by and bumped it. 13:46 remaining here in our second period. Again, we will have a stoppage at the 8.5 mark, or the halfway point of the frame. Again, in on the netminder low, and once again able to make the stop. Second effort by Polyvu. Pushes that up against the boards. And again, the Twine flinches. This time it was from the puck, but from the outside. Strandberg flips it around LaFleur. Taccone. Flipped that ahead. Pierce goes to Krieger. Taken down was Polyvu. They'll say play on. LaFleur tries to find a man over on the left side in Butter. That is broken up. Heavy collision there. And Butter again throwing his weight around. This time Pierce is the target. Caught up in the skates of the official. Cross ice dump it from left to right. Deflected by Nichols. High, but stays in the field of play. Back for Nichols. Nichols deflects this one down low. So he's got deflections at both ends. Albright on the near side point. Flicked, and the first one there coming screaming into the scene was Grant LaGreca. it certainly looked like one of two Grizzlies when it was going to get there first, but LaGreca was not the closest to it initially, but had the most direct route. They have to be careful here, and they are, as Mayhew fights through some opposition, does eventually give that up to Fountains, but not until he got to the red line. So no harm, no foul, as this is Bickle. He'll cycle it. Skating on is Gibbs. Or check that, Evan Kenzie calling for it. In the slot is LaGreca. Played up, not out. And a save made by the netminder with 11:15 left to go here in our second period. A shot, but off the mark. Rim down low. And Grizzlies, long pass, but it connects. McGowan cuts in. McGowan drops it back, right idea, but they sniffed it out. Kronberger, the intended target. It kicked off of the skate at Kronberger and settled down by Krieger. Krieger scans. I don't think, and that is indeed the case, that Carson Lynch had gotten a touch, so we will have an icing against the Oakland Junior Grizzlies. Mentioned there were some games in effect earlier this afternoon, including LA winning on the road against New York 5-1. And this Philadelphia squad falling here in the state of Minnesota, not too far from here in St. Paul, by a final of 4-1. Another game that may have some rooting interest for one of these two squads. The Philadelphia Junior Flyers, not too far from New Jersey, the Devils, were victorious by a score, I know, of 4-1. I'm trying to think of who they were playing. There's a shot and a save made by Jaguar. They'll work it down low, and coming away with it is Sarver. Christopher Sarver had that stripped away. Falling, still able to get that to the crease. And we're a minute and 6 seconds away from a stoppage. Centering pass. And it goes one in one end and out the other. Nobody could connect to it until it finally settled down for Charlie Driscoll. Driscoll keeps this alive. And just as I say that, Junior Flyers headed the other way in Blum. $9:15 left to go in the frame, and we will grab a new puck and get ourselves situated after that one was flipped out of play. Junior Flyers push it forward into the offensive zone, not able to stay there long. Driscoll swings it around. They'll tie up along the far side, just up against the Grizzlies bench. Checking over the shoulder is Driscoll. Long pass attempt, and LaFleur kicking that forward with the automatic icing, or excuse me, offsides. He has to do everything he can to try to keep that from going over the blue line, because if he does, he's still got a teammate in there. Even if they're looking to try to touch up, doesn't do them any good. Looks like that earlier opponent was Chicago that New Jersey defeated by a 4-1 score. And Edmonton at home knocked off Vegas 6-3. There's a shot from LaFleur, held on to by the netminder. I mentioned I will not give the Detroit score just in case people are recording, although I will say that that one is at or approaching the second intermission. Pittsburgh's in Ottawa. The Senators with a 1-0 lead after 2 complete. Buffalo and Washington deadlocked at 2. Maxim Giguère's father's old team, the Anaheim Ducks, who traded away Cam Fowler yesterday. They are in Columbus, 2-2 the score there. Third period just underway. And the horn will sound with a little bit of pushing and shoving after the whistle. We've got a 1-0 lead. It was seconds into the contest that Nate Pierce found the back of the net, 18 seconds to be precise, and the lone assist going to Avery Lutch. We will take our break in the action. We will be back with the conclusion of the second period. It is 18U action of NAPHL Tier 1 hockey with the Oakland Junior Grizzlies on top of the Philadelphia Little Flyers by a score of 1-0. You're watching action right here on NAHL TV. Ends, so the Philadelphia Junior Flyers in orange, white, and black. They go from left to right in the white jerseys, black and tan, going from right to left. The Oakland Junior Grizzlies, who enjoy a 1-0 lead. Nate Pierce from Avery Lutch just 18 seconds into the contest, and neither side has found the score sheet since. Been a pretty clean game as far as penalties go. I almost regret saying that because if you're superstitious and this game were to go sideways, I'm sure some of the blame may be thrown my way. I'm like a reporter. I just report the news. I don't make the news. But we will have a face-off to the right of the netminder. In their own zone, the Junior Grizzlies looking to win a defensive zone draw. And at least able to get it to the line and then eventually out, as that one was sitting on the blue paint there momentarily. Brought into the offensive zone. And a backhand effort towards the net by Tucker. That one just held in at the line. They get this up and kept alive. Sent the length of the ice. And coming over to play it is Holzinger. Should point out, as sometimes not due to performance, but just the game plan, sometimes coaches will elect to go and get multiple goalies in the game, but it is still Giguère who makes a save there off the left shoulder, and Xander Holzinger. Through his legs, the pass by Bickle. And trying to get something going there was Logue. We're going to have a penalty. And as it was touched up, one of the Philly players came over and kind of finished a check. Then a puck by an Oakland player thrown at one of the Junior Flyers. I think the officials are going to let all of that extra stuff go. It's just the initial call. Roughing going against Will Kronberger. And that is what the Philly coaching staff is having a conversation with the officials right now. Purely speculating, I would imagine the conversation ending on the Philly side and then going over, I should say the second half of the conversation on the Philly side and then over to the Oakland side, saying, hey, let's keep the extra stuff to a minimum, with both sides getting kind of their last warning and saying anything more, and we may have to start throwing those players into the box. Not necessarily keeping a team shorthanded, but perhaps some misconduct. There's a drive. A save made by the netminder, glove down by the junior Grizzlies. They'll play at the length of the ice, and icing the call. Yes, we do indeed still have icing being called against the shorthanded team. For Oakland, the head coach is Pat Peak. Brad Lutch, the assistant coach. On the Philadelphia side, Mike Casale with Jerry Marks as the AC. A backhand effort in tight and sliding over back in behind the goal line was the netminder Xander Holsinger. He'll squeeze that one shut. 1:07 left on the power play opportunity. Face-off. One back by Braden Leonard. At the feet of Founds. Founds now retreating. He'll track this one down. Circles. Cuts behind the cage. As Leonard was the forechecking F1. Gibbs feeds this over. And Manolino looked like was going to be off to the races into the offensive zone. With a little bit more speed. Philly does gain the zone, but with a little slower pace on that second entry. They'll send this up to the left point. Kicks off of Gibbs and pushed out of the zone. Josifovsky out of Birmingham, Michigan. There's a drop pass. Centering pass. And unable to get good wood on it. Brought back in. Here comes Philly. Spun out, and we're going to have a penalty as Blum is upended, or taken down, rather. We have a football on the field, as that is something that players in the next game up will often warm up with a soccer ball usually, but a football as well. And, well, Tripping is going to be the call. They'll have a conversation with the Grizzlies coaching staff. So it's back-to-back power play looks for Philadelphia. At the dot, Carson Lynch. He'll work against Brady Logue. Logue wins it, feeds it, and gets it right back. Logue down low from the goal line. Logue from outside the left circle. Plays it down low. Now up high. And Natitian moved it over to the right side. Bickle feeds it forward and now cutting in. Short-handed, a drive. Lynch fought off by Jaguar. Bickle with it. Bickle slams on the brakes. Fakes the handoff. He'll take it himself and go straight away center. Bickle still with it. Peels it over to the left side. Down low they set up from the circle. Right into the breadbasket of the netminder. No problem for Holsinger. Makes the save and gobbles up that puck to make sure there is no rebound coming. Face off to the right of the netminder. One back. Big drive and a glove save. Hammering that one immediately was Brady Founds. And he found a face-off win put right in his wheelhouse. Holsinger flashing the leather just above the left leg pad, which is where you want that shot. Just above that pad. Founds pressured. Feeds it. And Manolino withstanding some pressure. Gibbs waits and moves it over to the left side. Just over 3 minutes left to go here in the frame. Down to 41 seconds left to go in the man advantage. Founds for Blum. Blum pushes over to the left side. That is broken up. Chipped out and tracked down by Brady Founds. Gibbs waits, cuts back the other way. They try to drive it to the net. Blum loses his footing in the process. Jaguar taps at the ice, indicating Oakland's power play has come to an end. And just after they go 5-on-5, that puck brought over the line after it had gone out to neutral ice. Offside the call, and that will back things up just outside of the Oakland blue line. Tate looking to get that deep and unable to. Raybiger using some physicality right in front of the scorer's box. He hails from Bluebell, Pennsylvania. Pushed forward by Gavin LaFleur. That hops up over Raybiger's stick. Tate, second effort, and chopped there by DeConey, excuse me. All the way down, and Pierce Huey there just a little bit behind what was eventually an icing. McGowan kicked out of the dot. I don't think it was for anything he did, but for a teammate encroaching early. Lynch instead wins it to McGowan. That shot does not get through as Natition ends up wearing it. 70 seconds left to go in the frame. We skate 5-on-5. Backhanded by Driscoll down low. Hammered off the near side boards, but they can't get a clearance. And that one will go up, hit the ceiling, or one of the beams across it, rather. And that will stop action. Face-off will stay in the offensive zone. Everybody was starting to set up to the goaltender's right. They'll switch sides over to his left. This is Joseph Butter. And he will be replaced at the dot by Colin Bickle. Over for Butter. That's twice. We've seen a player kicked out of the dot, and then it went right to him after his replacement had a face-off win. Sarver got it in. Now Junior Grizzlies dump it around the bend. Philly. And that is tipped. Butter makes sure to avoid that icing. 16 seconds left in the frame. Still 1-0. Junior Grizzlies on top of the Junior Flyers. Our conclusion tonight on this rink will be the Los Angeles Junior Kings and the Oakmore Patriots out of Des Moines, Iowa. Flipped on target and steered aside by the netminder, although it wouldn't have counted as that puck would have been in the net well after the horn had sounded. We'll take a break. We'll be back in 60 seconds with the third period. 1-0. Oakland Junior Grizzlies on top of the Philadelphia Junior Flyers. You're watching NAPHL Tier 1 action right here on NAHL TV. We will switch ends. The Philadelphia Junior Flyers in orange, white, and black. They go from right to left. In white, black, and Vegas gold are the Oakland Junior Grizzlies. They lead by a score of 1-0. They break out of the zone. Kronberger feeds it over to the right side. Blowing a tire there was Strandberg, and that is a defensive save made by Jaguar as that one pops off of him. And good to see he didn't appear to be too shaken up on the play. Bringing it out was Gibbs. Kenzie slides it over to the right side, and they'll get it deep. Fed out front! And trying to tuck it home from there was Kenzie. Tracking this down. Founds has a lane. Blum, did he get a touch on it? No, he did not, says the officials. And we will take the draw back down in the Junior Flyers end. Face-off comes to the right of the netminder. Just under 16 minutes remaining. I should say remaining in regulation, as there's a save made by the netminder. We certainly are in the realm of extra time as a possibility. Mantelino skies that one. And played right back down into the Oakland end. They'll take their time, move it up the left side from the blue line. And slowed down by Mayhew. Mayhew exchanges. And looking to fire immediately was Taccone. Turned over. Kronberger tries to go backwards. Ends up finding a little flyer instead. Flipped ahead by Taccone. Skating onto it, kicking it to himself. Sending it through the middle. But the Junior Flyers coming away with it. Huey goes D to D. That's Tate. Tate dances over to the right side, gets about halfway between the red line and the Philly blue line, and dumps it in deep. Flicked down about 85% the length of the ice, and then looking to clear was Huey. It actually hit off the skate of Tate. May have caused him to take a spill. Fortunately, that didn't come back to haunt the Grizzlies. Looking for a centering pass, although it hits off the side of the cage. Kronberger gets tied up from there. They'll feed the point. Now switching sides over for Krieger. In and held onto by Jaguar. And he will squeeze that one with 13:38. Left to go here in period number 3. Again, the Ohio Blue Jackets, the opponent for the Junior Flyers tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Chicago Fury at 8 a.m. on Monday. They'll cross ice, dump in from right to left. Giving pursuit, the Flyers. Still plenty of time in this one. I do not expect them to start taking too many unnecessary chances, especially with it only being a one-goal game. Here's Founds. Stick save made by the netminder. Holzinger had the right pad there to help, and as plan B. That kicks out, and it looked like Ray Bigger was going to take the didn't get that shot through, then tried to push it over to the side. Here's Founds. Wastes no time, but just off the mark. Centering pass and a backhand look. Big stop there by Jaguar. He keeps this a one-goal affair. Unable to get that on target was Pierce. They'll swing it back around for him. Pierce fed by Lynch. And with a player in Nichols in his face, he elects to take the safe route and just get it deep. Grizzlies making a change. Back the other way. Here's Nichols, and it is an icing. I thought that Nichols had gained the red line. The officials will say no. So the draw will come to the left side of the netminder. This will be in the northwest corner of rink 2. We are rink 2 of 8 here in the building. Rinks 1 through 4. Olympic-sized sheets. 5 through 8 NHL-sized. Across the red line. And this one is going to be deflected out of play through no fault of anybody's, including even the officials. This one has had a poor pace as of late, and the only reason I say that is we've just had a lot of stoppages. Not through anybody's fault, not even that anybody's intending to. We've just had a lot of pucks that have been covered up and frozen by the netminder or deflected out of play. A couple of icings in there as well, though those with a little more fault, I guess if you'd say. Blocker save right off the restart. Floated high, trying to catch Strandberg, and that one ends up going across his bow. Strandberg from the goal line has a man to the side of the cage in Poilievre that they were looking to get it over to and not quite able to. Missing on the exchange. Gibbs across the line to the circle, a drive. It left a rebound, and that was pushed back out in front of the goal line by Evan Kenzie. Stripped away by Strandberg. Diving into the corner and finished off on a check. It was a double team there. Blum was in on it, as was Campanella. Turned over. Blum kept it alive for a moment. Now it's Taccone. Taccone has that one stripped away from him before he can do anything with it by Sarver. A heavy hit, Campanella, the recipient of it, and a push afterwards, and knocked to the ice is Kronberger, and a couple of junior Grizzlies go after a junior Flyer in the middle in Blum. I did not see a hand go up indicating a penalty initially. I'm not sure that there was a call, but we do have a player down on the ice. We'll step away from the mic. 10:24 left to go here in period number 3. Oakland Junior Grizzlies on top by a score of 1-0 over the Philadelphia Junior Flyers. You're watching NAPHL Tier 1 action right here on NAHL TV. .24 left to go here in period number 3. We skate 4-on-4. But then after the 2 minutes is expired, then we'll have a 3-minute power play as a 2-minute minor was handed out on the Philly side, but Oakland assessed a 5-minute major. Peeling back was Ickes. Ickes exchanges, and Driscoll gets it over to McGowan. McGowan is steered to the side by Natishan. Racing over to keep this alive at the point, Driscoll. A nice toe drag, and Ickes just off the mark. Philly racing to it. They find themselves down by a goal. If they can weather the next minute 16, they have a opportunity here to try to get something going, and not only could they tie it up on the power play, theoretically, they can score as many times as they want. They could take the lead on the man advantage, but first, they're trying to weather this storm as this is brought into the offensive zone by Kenzie. I shouldn't even say weather it. They'll certainly take any looks that they get. They just want to make sure they don't give up anything. Good looking for the Junior Grizzlies. They can ill afford to go back down again. We've got a player down. Knocked to the ice was Alejandro Blum. And so we've got two players headed to the box for Oakland. Ickes and Driscoll. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. We already had 4-on-4. You can't go 4-on-2 here. So it'll be a 4-on-3, but that backs up one of the two penalties. So that one doesn't even start until one of the first two is killed off, which still has a full 2 minutes. 9:01 left to go here in the frame. Play the length of the ice and icing the call against Oakland. We still have 31 seconds on the penalty that is being assessed on Hunter Haas. The Junior Grizzlies, actually, the players themselves opened the penalty box after the whistle, I think, to ask a question. The explanation being given there is you can't have so the penalties do not start ticking off, and I'm wondering if the players are wondering why haven't they started. Face off, controlled by the Junior Flyers and LaFleur. He'll exchange to Bickle. Logue switches to the opposite side. Bickle with a drive. Fought off by the netminder Holsinger up and over the crossbar. Logue tracks it down in the offensive zone. 8 seconds before that first penalty is expired. Logue with the exchange and will give it right back to Sarver. I'm wondering, however, as this is a 5-on-3 for the next minute 17, is one of those penalties may not affect the players' personnel on the ice. It may have just been a misconduct. Sarver, as that one slips through him, he'll curl back counterclockwise, moves it over to the right circle. Now across, Bickle with a drive and scores. Takes it in upstairs, short side. Time of the goal is 9 minutes and 1 second into period number 3. And Philly gets this game even at 1 apiece. So it's a 5-on-3 because there were 3 players in the box. The goal gets one of them out. There's still 2 players in the box. 2:35 left to go on the major, and now we have the first moments of the penalty that is being served by Charlie Driscoll. In other words, Driscoll was in the box, but there was no time ticking off of his penalty. So now we have a full 2 minutes of 5-on-3, and that is why that call where they sent 2 players off for Oakland at the same time is really coming back to bite the junior Grizzlies, as they've got their work cut out for them here. Founds switches over to the right side. And this is deflected and will go down the length of the ice. Was not able to hear the official scoring on that one. We'll take a look online at nat1hl.com. Across the line, but offside as Kenzie came across the line, bumped it out to Gibbs, but the timing not there. And they've got that as Sarver. That had to have been Bickle, right? A feed across, and what a stop made by the netminder, sliding over from right to left. Sarver from LaFleur. I'm wondering if they just misheard the numerals. 56 seconds left on the 5-on-3. Minute 31 still remaining on the minor. If you're the Oakland Junior Grizzlies, you will take any stoppage you can get right now. You want to eat up as much clock as possible, but if you have to ice it a couple of times, you'll take that. There's a feed out front, and in the slot, Grant LaGreca didn't miss by much. From the right side, they'll approach the right circle, and that shot from Bickle is deflected up and into the netting, and those are exactly the breaks in action that we were talking about that the Junior Grizzlies need right now. With 6:37 left to go here in the frame. Blum to take the draw against Braden Leonard. Won by Philly. Calling for it is Kenzie. He steps up. That is blocked. And just stayed on the line. This time, however, it will not, and they get the clearance they need. 17 seconds before this becomes a 5-on-4 fight. Brought into the offensive zone by Kenzie. Kenzie steered wide from the goal line. Circles and misses on the exchange. This will head all the way back to the blue line of Philadelphia. Out of the box is Driscoll. It's 5-on-4. Carving over to the right side is Manolino. Reversing the other way, Mike Tate III. Chipped up, kept in, just on the line by Kenzie. And a connection, unfortunately, for the Oakland squad. There is no race to the dot, so while Darren Mayhew was the only player within the zip code of the puck, it is still an automatic icing and brings it back down into the Junior Grizzlies end. What you can say is after all of that, a 5-minute major and 2 penalties called at the same time after it had already been 4-on-4 before that, we now have seen Oakland finally get to 5-on-5, although just as that is said, they go upstairs and kiss it off the crossbar and in. So I think technically this goes down as an even strength goal. I can tell you neither side right now is worried about their power play or penalty kill numbers. It is a 1-0 lead for the Junior Grizzlies that has evaporated and has gone the other way. Philadelphia on top by a score of 2-1. Nice feed up in the high slot as they were encroaching in. And again, that hit iron and found the right side of it if you're Philly, the wrong side for Oakland. Five minutes left, still plenty of time for Oakland, but they're going to need to shake off the last 7 or so minutes, including the major and the 2 goals. Camden Albright from Colin Bickle. So we'll call that 23 from 8. And through neutral ice, Pierce. Pierce had what moments ago was the only goal of the game, and it came in the opening 18 seconds. Philly. And the game is so much tougher when you are trailing because you're the one, as this is Sarver, able to flick one on in the backhand on target to draw a offensive zone restart for Philly. Your hand is forced when you're trailing on the scoreboard, and that obviously increases the later the game goes on and the larger the margin. They're going to toss one of the Junior Grizzlies from the dot in Lynch. But all of a sudden it went from a game where Philly had their backs up against the wall to they're in the driver's seat, and it's Oakland who finds the clock just as big of an opponent as the opposing team. Brought in but offsides, 3:45 left to go here in regulation. I again point out in regulation, not necessarily in the game itself. Dumped down low by Founds. Pursuing was Gibbs, and the netminder keeps Gibbs at bay. Floated all the way down, but an icing will bring it back down into the east end of the rink. .331 on the clock. Face off, controlled by Philly, and LaFleur lets a shot go. I don't know. I feel like since the penalties were called and then the goals, it just seems like it is propelled Philly. They've got a spring in their step as they get a big save there by Jaguar, but seems like they've been winning the draws and winning those 50-50 battles. And just as I say that, almost as if to prove me wrong, the Oakland Junior Grizzlies make a couple of nice plays in situations that could have gone either way. Gibbs slow to get up at the blue line just at the Junior Grizzlies bench, and he will head off for a change. Brought into the offensive zone by Darren Mayhew. Mayhew is kept to the corner. Founds there with him. They get a shot, but it doesn't get through. Pushed over to the left side, and Kenzie slaps that one down low. Krieger has pressure, and he's able to open up some space for himself. Now muscles that one forward to Kronberger. Kronberger stops on a dime, throws it to the point. They try to tuck it home, and is it in? The official says no. Puts his hand out. Now we've got players dumped after the whistle. The referee was in a great spot to see if that puck had crossed the line. He says no. And a penalty has been assessed here against Philadelphia, I'm assuming, for activity after the whistle. 2:03 left to go here in period number 3. And it looks like almost all of it will be served by Tommy Manolino, or at least he hopes. And we've got a second player going in. So is this going to be a 2 and a 10? Looks like a timeout has been burned. We will step away from the mic. We'll be back in a matter of moments. 2:03 left to go. Philadelphia, the Grizzles. Grizzlies will take the draw. It comes outside of the zone because of the fray and the defense. Mayhew over to Tate, and they gain the zone. It is a 5-on-4 advantage, but it will quickly turn into 6-on-5. They fire to the empty net, and it's in. An empty net shorthanded goal. I believe it's going to be unassisted. And that one is put home by Christopher Sarver. Time of the goal, 15 minutes, 17 seconds. And the 3-1 lead in favor of the Junior Flying. We'll find out here in a moment. It looks like, at least online, they've put it up as an unassisted tally. They will pull the netminder. It's 6-on-4. Tucker. Hands off. Pierce is pressured. He'll switch over to Tate. Tate plays pitch and catch. From the circle, a drive doesn't get through. Minute 13 left to go. 3-1. A 2-goal advantage for Philadelphia. A 2-player advantage, or 2-skater advantage, rather, for Oakland. They'll rim it around, and Tate with it. They'll move it over to the right side, and Pierce now straightaway center. Firing a shot, doesn't get past the netminder as Pierce let one go. Tucker, was that in the slot? I don't remember if it was Zoranic or Tucker that took that puck and then threw it towards the netminder. He was able to get the equipment down low on the ice surface and cover up. 50.3 left to go. 47 seconds left on the penalty, so there's about a 3-second differential between the penalty clock and the period clock. Centering pass attempt, and that is broken up by Founds, who laid down on the train tracks to make sure that didn't get through. And finding it in his equipment is Jaguar. Jaguar drawing some noise from the backup netminder. Freddie Jackson pounding the boards with his blocker. Should point out that it is Ben White out of Northville, Michigan, backing up Holsinger on the other end, although both of them currently on the bench with the netminder pulled. 32 seconds exactly remaining when that puck is dropped. They'll slide it over to the right side. Through a sea of bodies, Huey on the feed from Krieger is able to get that on target. Fought off by Jaguar. And icing waved off. Here's Krieger. They get it out front, and tucking home the empty net goal for Philadelphia is Hunter Haas. This is a game where the final score is not going to tell the story entirely, as the differential is going to look a lot different than how that game played out, as well as when you see a 4-1 score, you might say, well, maybe the Oakland side never led. That is not the case. In fact, they led for almost the entire game. 18 seconds in until 9 minutes into the third period. But then 4 goals, including 2 empty netters, and that is how this one will wrap up. Oakland is upended by a couple of power play goals. One of the 5 on 3 right. I guess technically the second one wasn't a power play goal. It was right as the power play was expiring. And 4 goals in the third period, all for Philadelphia, as it was Bickle, Albright, Sarver, and Haas finding the back of the net, and they propel Philly to a 4-1 victory.